You guys doing okay? Cody back again, guys, dropping yet another video. Right, guys, I'm gonna cover something now, right? And it might surprise some of you and stuff, like what I say, but I'm gonna cover prison officers, right? Now, I'll state straight off the bat, I can't stand staff that work in HMP. For those that don't know, you've got two types of prisons. You've got private prisons and you've got Her Majesty's Prison. Her Majesty's Prison officers, right, the ones that I've come across are fucking idiots, right? The job's worth cunts and they swap the personality for a set of keys. And I thought all screws were like that. But then, having done a couple of stretches in Forest Bank, which is a Cat B here in Manchester, Salford, like, it's just a few miles down the road, the screws are safe, man. Like they speak to you as human beings. Right, you've got two types of prison officers within the private prisons, right? You've got the old school, right? That you're not going to get anything from it. If you're entitled to it, you'll get it. If you're not, you won't, right? It's as simple as that. Any prison officers that are going to watch this, right? I know that prison officers watch my videos because when I left the Forest Bank on my last stretch, I got a letter from one of the lads that said that these vlogs, all the cleaners got pulled into a meeting, right? Because they thought I was doing these vlogs when I was in prison, because the back walls behind me, they look like prison walls, right? So it could be a cell. It wasn't a cell, but they pulled all the lads in. The governor watched it, the security within the prison watched it, and everything else. Like I say, I wasn't doing these vlogs in prison. I did them when I came out. If you look back on my timeline, there's a 4.5 month gap. That 4.5 month gap was because I was in prison. So I wasn't vlogging while I was in prison, guys, right? So I know that screws watch this. So yeah, like I say, you've got the old school screws that if you're entitled to it, you'll get it. You get some that are jobs worth cunts. They do it by the butt, don't they? Then you've got the screws that are safe as fuck. To them, it's just a job. You're in prison. That's your punishment. And you know what? Yeah, there's a lot of screws that get on very well with the lads. Now, not on my last stretch, but on the stretch before, one of my SOs, we don't do names on this channel, right? He said to me, like, when I was getting released and stuff, he said to me before I got let off the wing, he said, you know what, you're a top kid, right? And he said, you're one of them kids that if I was on the out, you'd be a friend. And I took that to me out, you know what I mean? That touches you, that. Like I say, they're there to do a job, right? There's two sorts of attitudes to look at it. It's the safe, or it's us versus them. An us versus them mentality is like, they're the enemy, we're cons, we stick together, they're the enemy, right? Now, I can see why that is, but if you've got screws that are safe with you, speak to you as human beings, go the extra mile for you. If you've got an issue, right, and you're sweet with them, right, they go the extra mile for you, right? And in prison, that goes a long way. Just like if they ask you to do something, and you then go the extra step for the screws, they look after you. And it's like I say, in prison, to get by, you've got to go by, haven't you? So you be sweet with them. Like I say, I've not got my tongue up some fucking screw's ass, mate. It's just, you're in prison, and like I say, if you've got a dickhead attitude, right, they're not going to help you. But if you're safe with them, they'll help you. Like I say, there was only one screw on my last stretch. He was a young lad. Used to speak to us like shit, and I said to the SO, I said, listen, I won't say his name, but I said to the SO, I said, listen, he's a fucking dick. I said, if he ever speaks to me like that again, I said, I'm going to kick off. I said, he speaks to me like I'm a dick. I said, I'm in prison, I'm serving my sentence, I'm a cleaner, I do everything that's requested of me, right? And I said, he speaks down to everyone like we're a piece of shit. Now, I don't like people that look down the nose at prisoners, right? Now, people might think, well, you're in prison, blah, 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 you've broken the law and all that stuff, right? Your punishment's prison, right? And people suffer in prison, whether it's, some people have better times than others. So, like I've alluded to, you've got the roller coaster of prison and all that sort of stuff. My honest opinion, like where I used to hate screws and stuff, especially Strangeways screws, Strangeways is at HMP Manchester, it's still known as the Ways, Strangeways or whatever. I don't like their staff at all. Now, like I say, but when I change my opinion when I've done Forest Bank, yeah, when I've mingled with the screws and stuff, like, yeah, on stretches I've worked, on my last stretch I worked, other stretches I haven't worked, right, because they've not been a job for me, or they've not approached me for a job. But yeah, like I say, there's some decent screws within prison. Anyone that watches these vlogs that have been in prison, you'll all know there are decent screws. Some, depending on what prison you're in, some screws are better than others, and blah blah blah. But like I say, at Forest Bank, some of the laughs that I had with the screws and stuff, like they used to tell us about fucking what they was getting up to, like on the piss ups they have, and they tell us stories and stuff, and we'd sit down with them and we'd have a laugh with them and stuff, and just the banter backwards and forwards and stuff. Like we take the piss out of them, they take the piss out of us. We was like friends, guys, in a weird way. Like I say, I'm not no screw boy, yeah, man, but like I say, like I say, when it comes down to the nitty gritty, right? Like I'm a convict first, yeah. I'm not a fucking. So you can have a laugh with the screws and stuff, but if you're doing a bit, right, then you're like, well, screws got a job to do, and you've got to be a convict, yeah, and evade the law and do what you're doing in prison. That's just the way it is. I think it was badly run from the top of prison, like the governor and stuff like that. Like they haven't worked on a wing for a long time. They're out of touch with what's actually going on the wings within jail. They might see like statistics come across the door. They might deal with nickings and stuff, but like they don't see day to day what's going on. Like screws are short staffed, right? We usually had 3 screws, yeah, for about, I think there's about 80 of us, yeah, 3 screws, mate. And they've got escorts to do. They're going taking people down the main. They're doing app book reviews, things like that. So they're not even on they do a lot of admin work, guys. Like a lot of it's admin work. And if the lads were out all the time, the screws would be fucked because they're outnumbered. Good order's maintained in prison just because convicts go by. If convicts all put their heads together and try to take over a wing or something, they could very easily do it, guys, because of short staffing within the prison and stuff. I'll tell you one incident now where if I had bad intentions, I could have used it to my advantage. But I was a cleaner, so there's some trust involved within me and stuff. And me being a cleaner was going to help me get tagged. I didn't get tagged, but it could have helped me get tagged. And what it was, there was an incident on G2. G2 was the induction wing at Forest Bank. And someone threw a bin at one of the screws, yeah. Both top screws, both of them. One was a red badge, right? Check this out, right? And the screw, right? They normally had the keys on a string thing. This screw didn't, right? And it kicked off, and his utility belt thing came open. His fucking keys ended up at my floor. They both crushed this guy, right? They both flattened this kid, right? And I had a fucking set of screws keys, right? A red badge's keys, which has got more keys on than a blue badge, right? I couldn't have escaped the prison or anything, but say I wanted to try and get up on the roof or something like that, or I wanted to use the keys to unlock prisoners or stuff like that, I could have easily done that, guys. You know what I mean? So that was that then. But I didn't know because one of them triggered his alarm, and then all these other screws come on. But I had these keys, yeah, and I should have held onto them, but I didn't. I gave them the screws back. But imagine that being so, yeah, and one of the inmates, yeah, thinking, you know what, fuck this, yeah, a bit of a disorder, going to take over a wing or something. They could have taken over the wing with keys and stuff. They could have opened it up onto the yard. They could have got all the way down to the main gate with that set of keys, guys, right? So yeah, that was like one incident. But yeah, like I say, you got screws that want to go hands-on, and you can see it, they're etching, like they try and rub the lads up the wrong way. I don't like them sorts of screws, guys, because they're looking for reaction so that then they can go in like with numbers and twist the kids up. Yeah, I don't like that. I'm not down for that. But like I say, most of the screws, yeah, they know what's going on within all prisons across the country. They just turn up, they do a job. It's not worth their pay to go above and beyond and start searching cells and searching inmates and spinning pads and stuff, right? Some screws are proactive, other ones aren't. But for 90% of them, 95%, were not that bothered. In my instance and stuff, they'd smell like spice or fish, as it's called in prison, being smoked on a landing or reefer, right? And they just carry on walking, guys. They just be like, oh fucking hell, that stinks, and they just carry on walking. There was a red badge that was very, very proactive and stuff. Like I say, at the end of the day, the screws have got a job to do. They want to come up to work, do what they're doing, and then they want to go home back to the loved ones, right? Prisons are very violent, dangerous places. You've got prisons that are full to the rafters, like doubling up as human warehouses because the amount of people within them. They're doubling up as mental health units and stuff. The inmates are extremely switched on. If you ever think that an inmate's stupid, they're far more resourceful than you will ever know if you've never been in prison, right? And like I say, it's the game of cat and mouse, right? But we're the mouse because the cat's always fucking 2-3 steps behind. The prisoners are always in front, always, right? But like I say, we just get by in prison. It's as simple as that. Now, if there's someone that contacted me on Facebook, right? A girl that's looking to go into the prison service now. My advice would be to someone as a prisoner, speaking to someone that's thinking about becoming a prison officer. I wouldn't do it. The low pay, right? It's not as high paying as you think for the danger that you're going to come up on, right? Prisons are violent, volatile fucking places, right? They're overcrowded. You've got very violent, volatile, dangerous fucking inmates, right? People like you, me, and everyone else that's been in prison, blah, 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 right? If you get involved in an incident, the top brass won't back you up. You're massively understaffed, right? You're overstretched, you're overworked, you're underappreciated, right? Prison officers get attacked. They don't just get attacked for no reason. Some prison officers provoke the lads, or they give the lads a kick in. The lads have got long memories, yeah. We're locked behind that door for long periods of time. We've got long memories, right? And people will then get retribution on the prison officer that's attacked them. That's just the way it goes. Like I say, when it's quiet, yeah, the wing's peaceful, right? When it goes off, right, just because you're a girl, if you don't think a guy's going to hit you because you're a woman, don't ever think that. It fucking goes on. Men get, like, there's incidents where people have got keys to their own cell. Not everyone has certain keys to certain cells and stuff, depending on if they've gone missing or not. And people put the key in between the fingers and smash, bam, in your face, yeah. Goes on. So you're going to come under attack from prisoners eventually. You might get on with someone and then they might just switch, yeah, and they might just flip out. It's a dangerous job. You're underpaid, you're underappreciated, you're going to be overworked, you're going to be massively understaffed to scary levels where you go into work and think, fucking hell. Convicts try to get in there with the female screws because they want to corrupt them and stuff. They want to be able to blackmail them and stuff into bringing drugs in, contraband and everything else. Yeah. If you're a female and you're going into the prison and as a prison officer, imagine being a piece of meat being dragged through the lion enclosure at like Knowsley Safari Park or somewhere. The cons are going to be on it, right? You're going to get lewd comments made and all this sort of stuff. I wouldn't, even now as a prisoner, right, I wouldn't work as a prison officer because one, I'd be corrupt as fuck. Two, the prison system's rife. There's corrupt screws and stuff like they're bringing drugs in and all that sort of stuff. Like in every prison, you've always got a corrupt member of staff, just like there's corrupt coppers as well. Most of the police are corrupt, aren't they? But yeah, like I say, I personally wouldn't do it, and I wouldn't advise anyone to do it. It's a very, very dangerous job for the risk versus your pay. The risk's up here and your pay's down there. It doesn't reflect the danger of the job and stuff. The training for you guys, if you're thinking about being a prison officer, I think it's 9 weeks here in the UK, as opposed to places like Norway where it's 2 years, right, before you're actively working on a wing and stuff. Like before you get your own keys and stuff. At Forest Bank, they seem to be, the prison officers, some of them, they seem to be giving, if you think that all fucking screws are big steadheads and everything else and big monsters, absolute bollocks. There are monsters, there are big steadhead screws and stuff, right? Top lads, I got on with them, but then you've got like skinny screws that can't fight and stuff. But like I say, there was one screw that I really got on with, right? He admitted it himself, he's not a fighter and everything. He enjoyed the job, and he was such a nice kid, yeah, proper safe screw. Honest to God, safest screw you could ever wish to meet, yeah. I won't mention his name because he'd fucking get in trouble from the fucking top brass. But he was safe as fuck, yeah. Said himself, he said, I'm not a fighter. He said, it's just a job. But his weapon, like, not weapon, but he could utilise was talking people down. And stuff like that, and I got on very, very, very well with him. But yeah, like I say, not all screws are 6'5", 6'6" monsters. You've got skinny girls that are young that used to work at McDonald's, one of the screws that are on our wing and stuff like that. And we do need female screws within prison, of course. I think it's a very dangerous job for them to do, because you've got prisoners that are violent, and some of them have got mental health issues, or they develop mental health issues, and if they snap and they switch, or kick off, they won't differentiate between a man or a woman. They'll just attack. It's as simple as that. I've seen it happen. But yeah, guys, just covering prisons, like organised, like volatile, violent inmates. We run the prison system. It's as simple as that. But prison officers do a very hard job in very difficult circumstances with a very limited budget. Some of them are safe as fuck. You've got dickheads as well. There's good and bad in every society, even with the inmates and stuff. Right, guys, going to leave it there. As always, like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff, and I'll speak to you soon. Bye.